And on top of that, we've just recently elected a Catholic president, and he is Catholic, he's baptized, he is a member of the family. We've just elected a Catholic president who is diametrically opposed to all of the basic moral principles that are proclaimed by the Roman Catholic Church. Not only abortion and the sanctity of human life, but the sanctity of marriage and this gender silliness. How in the world did that happen? A Catholic. I'll tell you, if he wasn't Catholic, I probably wouldn't be so upset. He's a member of my family. He's the most powerful man in the world. And he is absolutely opposed to the basic understandings that God is the author of life. How in the world did this happen? You want an answer? I'll tell you the answer. Because our bishops have been silent for 60 years through bad catechesis and cowardice.
Microaggression.
Microaggressions.
Microaggressions.
A microaggression.
Microaggressions.
Southern border, sir? Not at the moment. Southern border, sir? Not at the moment.
Microaggression.
Microaggressions.
Microaggressions.
A microaggression.
Microaggressions.
Well, my policies were working better than they've ever seen on the southern border. The wall is almost complete, and they should finish it, but they're destroying our country. People are coming in by the hundreds of thousands. Young children are coming in, and they leave their homes, and they come up because they think it's going to be so wonderful, and frankly, our country can't handle it. It is a crisis like we've rarely had, and certainly we've never had on the border. But it's going to get much worse. I mean, what you're seeing now is very bad, record numbers, but it's going to get much, much worse. With a little bit of time, you'll see those numbers expand at a level like you've never seen before. But we never had to do that to Mexico because the relationship that we developed was very, very good, very close. And we stopped what was coming into Mexico at their northern border. They stopped that, and they stopped it at our southern border. So we had very few people coming in, and we also stopped human trafficking. When I say stopped it, made a tremendous dent like has never been made before, and also drug trafficking. So we did a lot of things, and all of that is now eroded. Today, they're coming in. You take a look. They're coming in from all foreign countries. I see they're coming in now from Yemen. They're coming in from the Middle East. They're coming in from everywhere. They're dropping them off, and they're pouring into our country. It's a disgrace. They're going to destroy our country if they don't do something about it. We were the envy of the world, and then when we got hit by the, as I call it, the China virus, COVID, it obviously went down along with every other economy, and then we were the first to get it back up. And we actually, the stock market when I left was higher, slightly higher than it was even at the prime prior to COVID. So it was incredible what we were able to do. If you look at the jobs numbers, we had the all-time highest number of jobs. We had 160 million people working. We were never close to that. Everything we had, African-American, Asian-American, Hispanic-American, everybody was setting records. Women, it didn't matter. Any group was setting records. And now when I look at what's happening, we were energy independent. Very shortly, we will no longer be energy independent. Gas prices are going up at a far more rapid rate than anybody's seen in a long time. We had gas prices very low, and yet we had more energy jobs than we've ever had. But, you know, when you see gas prices going up, and they'll be going up by $1, $2, $3, if you look at that, and that's, you know, it's bigger than a tax increase. To the consumer, you get a $1 increase in gasoline. That's bigger than a tax hike, than a big tax hike. So it's a terrible thing that's happening. And then let's talk about tax hikes. They'll be raising taxes at the highest number that we've ever seen. It'll be the biggest tax increase in the history of our country to pay for everything. And it's a very devastating thing. It's a very sad thing to watch. Fortunately, in my administration and through what I did, frankly, and others, but what I did with the FDA is I forced them to move quickly, and we got the vaccine done in 9 months instead of 5 years. I don't think it would have ever been done, frankly, because according to their rules and regulations, they would have never had it. But we got a vaccine done in 9 months, and fortunately, that's not only going to save our country, it's going to save the world. Georgia, because the people that run the elections in Georgia, they have to be looked at, whether it was the Secretary of State or, frankly, the governor of the state. Things went on there between the presidential election, which I can tell you about, or you look at the 2 Senate elections. That is such a shame that happened. Everything that you've been talking about on your show today is affected by those 2 seats. Those 2 seats are devastating that we lost. And the Republicans, frankly, were fighting for $600 versus $2,000. And that was the only ad that the Democrats took. That was a disaster. They should not have been doing that. Mitch McConnell made a tremendous mistake. He lost those 2 seats. When you hear the tape, you would say Donald Trump may be the most honest person. It was a beautiful and perfect statement, and the Washington Post saw that when they heard it. And I guess they were relying on the statement without hearing what was said, but they were relying on the statement made by people in Georgia that run the elections. It's a very terrible thing, a very, very terrible thing for our country. What took place in Georgia, but not only Georgia, what took place in Pennsylvania, what took place in Detroit, Michigan, and Michigan generally, what took place in Wisconsin and Arizona. It is a disgrace. We're like a third world country. Well, let me ask you, let me answer the first question. The other question, I think it would be a disaster for our country. It would be very unfair. The Democrats use COVID in order to do things that they can't believe they got away with, what they did, and they didn't get their legislatures to approve. And by the way, in the Constitution, you have to do that. And our Supreme Court and our courts didn't have the courage to overturn elections that should have been overturned, because you're talking about decisive amounts, hundreds of thousands and even millions of votes. They didn't have in the Constitution, it says the state legislatures have to approve changes. They made massive changes early, just before the election in some cases, and they made massive changes that not even mentioning all of the other things and all of the dishonesty in the election, the state legislatures did not approve these changes. Therefore, they're not allowed. And the Supreme Court, they didn't rule on the facts. They ruled on standing. Well, you don't have standing to bring it. The Supreme Court should be ashamed of itself. If they allow that to happen, if it's allowed to happen, I think your Republicans will have a very hard time getting elected. What will happen is the Democrats will be able to do what they did in the 2020 election, and even worse, potentially even worse. It is a setup that they can't believe. And it's because of the fact that the Republicans lost 2 seats that they never should have lost in Georgia. And they never should have, if they were watching and doing their job, they should have never lost the presidential election in Georgia or 5 other swing states. Should have never happened. When you look at what they did, and when you look at the dishonesty and all of the things that took place in that election, this should have never happened. And they have to stop that,
Mr. President,
bill.
so what about
Absolutely.
it? What about it? Will you run again, Mr. President? Are you considering 2024?
Well, based on every poll, they want me to run again, but we're going to take a look and we'll see. We have first steps first. We have to see what we can do with the House. I think we have a very, very good chance of taking back the House. We did a great job. You know, you're going to lose from 15 to 25 seats the last time. I got involved. I worked very hard. I made tremendous amounts of meetings, speeches, and teleconferences and everything else for 56 of them. I had 56 basic teleconferences with thousands of people on the line on each one. And what happened is we ended up winning 15 seats instead of losing potentially 25 seats. That's a big swing. And it almost cost Nancy Pelosi a job. I think we have a chance of taking back the House. I think we have a chance to do better in the Senate. We need leadership in the Senate, which frankly we don't have. We need better leadership in the Senate. You have a good chance to take back the Senate. And frankly, we'll make our decision after that. But you know what? If you take a look at the polls, Maria, when you take a look at what's happening on our southern border, when you take a look at what's happening with energy independence, which will be gone in 2 months, and we had it for the first time ever, we had it. When you add it all up, I think we'll do very well in 2 years, and I think we're going to do very well in 4 years.
Is there anyone, if you weren't going to run, is there anyone that you think of that is a front runner behind you right now?
Well, I like a lot of them, and a lot of them I've been responsible for. You know, I mean, I've endorsed people that won. I've endorsed people that didn't have a chance, and as soon as I endorsed them, they went up by many, many points, and they won. And I'm doing that again. You know, it seems that the endorsements carry a lot of weight, and that's good. Well, I hope that happens, because if that happened, then I think I'd have an even stronger feeling toward running. I'm not a fan of hers. I think that what she talks about, the royal family and the Queen, I happen to think I know the Queen, as you know. I've met with the Queen, and I think the Queen is a tremendous person, and I am not a fan of Meghan.
Microaggression.
Microaggressions.
Microaggressions.
A microaggression.
Microaggressions.
On Friday, you called on Governor Cuomo to resign, but earlier in the day, you had not reached that point. What changed for you over the last several hours to reach that?
Look, as I've said, New York State, under this COVID crisis, needs safe and they need secure and safe and strong leadership. The women have come forward. I'm proud they have. They've made some serious allegations, and they should be listened to. Because of these allegations, the governor has lost the confidence of his governing partners and of many New Yorkers, and he should step down.
Well, I don't really care what you think.
Microaggression.
Microaggressions.
Microaggressions.
A microaggression.
Microaggressions.
Well, I'll continue with presenting the truth. These same Democrats spent 4 years accusing President Trump of colluding with Russia, allegations we knew at the time were false, and now the whole country knows are completely false. 19 minutes, Mr. Chairman, 19 minutes into President Trump's term, the Washington Post read a headline, quote, "The campaign to impeach President Trump has begun." President Trump wasn't even done with his inaugural address, and you guys were working with the media to impeach him. And of course, the video I wanted to play talks about what happened on January 6th. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just read from it. I'll read from the Congressional Record. Congressional Record, House of Representatives, Washington, Friday, January 6, 2017. Mr. McGovern, Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Alabama. Mr. Raskin, state of Florida, he objected to. Ms. Jayapal, Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Georgia. Ms. Lee, Mr. President, I object to the state of Michigan. Mississippi, Ms. Jackson Lee, Mr. President, I object. Mr. Grijalva, Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of North Carolina. Ms. Jackson Lee, Mr. President, I object to the state of North Carolina. Ms. Jackson Lee, I object to the votes from South Carolina. Ms. Jackson Lee, Mr. President, I object to the votes from Wisconsin. Ms. Maxine Waters, the state of Wyoming, is there one United States senator who will join me in this letter of objection? So Democrats, think about this. January 6, 2017, the chairman of the Rules Committee can object to Alabama, a state President Trump won by 30 points.
Hello? Yes, sir. You need me?
Yeah, you should probably mute, though, Mr. Chairman, so I can, while I'm talking. Again, one more comedy of errors in this committee hearing. Mr. Raskin, the lead impeachment manager, can object to Florida in 2017. And Maxine Waters, chairwoman of the House Financial Services Committee, can object to Wyoming, a state that President Trump won by 40 points. But somehow, Republicans, Mr. Chairman, aren't allowed to object to Pennsylvania. aren't allowed to object to Pennsylvania, where they changed the law.
Microaggression.
Microaggressions.
Microaggressions.
A microaggression.
Microaggressions.
I'm changing inside. I might look stupid, but I'm alright.
So I thank you guys for getting out on this. I'm not sure what we're trying to do over. I remember seeing they all had my friends. She was a tent. Well, firefighter began to be in the tent. I wouldn't call it that.
Good. One day closer to retirement.
How many?
Really? Oh, man, take it with you.
Is there a buzz in the building?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, alright. Because I was like, I don't know.
No, it wasn't us. There was buzz in the building.
Okay.
Was that it? Yeah. You heard it? Yeah.
That was buzz.
I was like,
Okay. Oh my God, it was.
Microaggression.
Microaggressions.
Microaggressions.
A microaggression.
Microaggressions.